How will Casemiro fit in at Manchester United? It's a simple one. In defensive midfield as an anchor next to Fred in midfield, like they play together in the Brazilian national team. Of course, Casemiro is going to bring a lot of experience, tackling quality and aggression in the centre of the park. But also, we want to see Antony brought in from Ajax, and that will be beautiful. A Brazilian trifecta on the right-hand side of the pitch. That's a dream. The reality, though, is Casemiro at Manchester United next, which is big. You know, United have been looking for a defensive midfielder, and he is probably the perfect guy in European football to play the role that Ten Hag has kind of built his last great Ajax team on, with having Ederson Alvarez, a big, strong, tall, aggressive defensive midfielder. I think this is kind of the way that Ten Hag wants to go now. Do I think it's a good signing? Yes, in the short term, absolutely fantastic. The question marks are on, his age. Will he continue being this dynamic, this aggressive? He could do it. We've seen many Brazilian midfielder through European football. The latest sort of great example would be Fernandinho at Man City. Played some a really top level till around 36 years old. The other side to it with that is the wages. If it doesn't work, United have to get rid of him. But anyway, let's forget about that and talk about the good stuff. What does Casemiro bring to United? What does it mean to United? So first and foremost, let's do some statistics. Casemiro at Real Madrid ranked in the top 5% of central midfielders in Europe for successful aerial duels, for successful pressures, for touches in the defensive third, long passes completed, aerial duels won, tackles in the defensive third, and shots blocked. Instantly, what Casemiro is going to bring Manchester United is that ability to win the ball back in these defensive areas. Very much a holding midfielder, Casemiro. Probably describe him as a defensive midfielder, because in possession he does a little bit more than an anchorman would do. Likes to drift ahead of the two central midfielders, which we'll talk about as we go through this. But the most important thing is defending that back through. It's stopping balls into the feet of forwards. It's dealing with wingers on the side and moving over there and doubling up with a fullback, which United get exposed over and over and over again in that situation that should be fixed now. Not only that, Casemiro on the ball is quite safe with it. What he'll do is he'll win the ball back and then simply shift it to one of his more gifted teammates. And we'll go for a few Champions League finals and talk about where he was shifting the ball to, because I think that is really, really important. The biggest thing that he's going to add to United, though, is aggression. It's something that United need. It's a bit of a nutcase in defensive midfield. It's a guy that's going to throw challenges in, that's going to be aggressive, that's going to intercept at the right time and carry his team forward. So Casemiro, obviously, at Real Madrid for a number of seasons now, really exploded onto the scene in the 2015-16 season, playing in defensive midfield behind, of course, Luka Modric and Toni Kroos. You could argue that this first final that he was involved with, he was man of the match. Fantastic in defensive midfield, made the most ball recoveries on the pitch with 15, won 8 of his 10 tackles, had the second most clearances, and in this final played these passes the most to Toni Kroos and Luka Modric, 9 each. So was simply sitting in defensive midfield, and shipping that ball left and right. You can see how deep it is and how well he protects the back four, which I think is going to be very important for Manchester United. Let's look at the next final, 16-17. Of course, Real Madrid went on that run of winning 3 European Cups in a row, and Casemiro was so important in those runs. The big games that you kind of saw him, really change things in his game. See how the heat map is a little bit higher up in this match. So this was against Atletico Madrid in the semi-final, and what Casemiro did in this game was arguably played as a bit of a decoy. So, at this point, obviously Real Madrid had already won 1 European Cup. They were playing some of the best football in Europe at that point. But teams had started to work out how they moved and how they functioned with that three-man midfield of Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, and Casemiro. We're just going to use the latest iteration of Real Madrid as an example right now, but the tactical point stays the same. So if we're talking about that 3-man midfield, we're focusing on the 3 central midfielders, Kroos, Casemiro and Modric. What Casemiro did in this semi-final arguably was fantastic. The Atletico press was super aggressive on their midfield. They didn't want to let Toni Kroos get into that left half space and dominate the ball. So they were super aggressive. But what Casemiro did consequently was basically sit in attacking midfield, which allowed Kroos and Modric to kind of get on the ball in these deep areas, and Casemiro would sit in that advanced area and be an outlet. And I love that tactical awareness. That tactical awareness is something that Erik ten Hag is going to cherish at Manchester United. You know, another final, this time against Juventus, another victory, another time where Casemiro completes 93% of his passes, makes the most tackles on the pitch again, wins 7 out of 8, and completes his most passes this time to Isco at the tip of the diamond, which again is so important. You think tactically how this game was won. Juve sat in a 4-4-2, Isco was at the tip of the diamond, Casemiro to Isco was his highest passing combination. This guy is very, very intelligent with the ball. Let's move forward, of course. He won his third European Cup against Liverpool in the final. Again, topping the metrics for, a number of defensive statistics for Real Madrid. But let's fast forward to last year. Again, arguably a man of the match performance in a Champions League final. Started a little shaky in the game. You'd say for the first 20 minutes was a little shaky, but grew into the game and was absolutely brilliant. Won 4 out of his 6 tackles in the match. Again, made the most clearances as well for Real Madrid, and found Toni Kroos 10 times with passes. Again, another big part of his game. Wins the ball, simply gives it to a midfielder to control the tempo, to allow them to attack. Let's rotate back to Manchester United. So of course he's going to play defensive midfield for Manchester United. He's not going to play left back, right back, or anything like that. It's going to be simple. This is a defensive midfielder that United have been looking for a long, long time. Consequently, it will allow United to be more aggressive in an attacking sense, knowing that they've got a true holding midfielder. So you're thinking Malacia and Diogo Dalot can provide more of an attacking outlet, and maybe even get themselves to form the diamond. But it's going to be big for Casemiro. Defending those wide areas where Man United really struggle in the transition is why he's been brought in. It's those types of moves. As soon as United have lost the ball, to go and win it back. It's going to be important to see how the relationship's going to be built with the front 5 players. Let's say Fred's going to move into attacking midfield, or now you can simply play Christian Eriksen in that roaming playmaker role, and then Diogo Dalot and Malacia nice and narrow to provide that kind of free-man base. That experience in there is really important. I'd say one of Casemiro's probably biggest traits has now become intercepting. It's making the right move, standing in the right position, and simply winning the ball back without having to overstretch or win a tackle. It's reading the play, and I think that experience with Diogo Dalot and Malacia to build those guys up is going to be massively important. I also like his ability to play with a roaming playmaker. Of course, Toni Kroos, very much at Real Madrid, roams up and down the pitch, finds little pockets of space everywhere to get on the ball and to turn. But his favourite kind of position, Toni Kroos, is sort of this left half position. And that's something that Eriksen could do. Casemiro wins the ball back in a transitional sense, ships it to Eriksen and allows him to dictate. We think about that United might need another defensive midfielder, and 100% I think they need more bodies in that area. But having Christian Eriksen as a kind of a roaming playmaker, or as this 8 that moves into an attacking sense, makes a lot of sense for me at Manchester United. Casemiro will unlock a lot in the top 2% of central midfielders in European football for tackles won in the defensive third. That's where United are massively weak at the moment. You think from a possession sense as well, Casemiro, as we mentioned before, has that awareness to move off the ball. If he's getting man-marked or teams are squeezing up, to be a bit of a decoy. I like that. That's something that Edison Alvarez did really well for Erik ten Hag's Ajax. That ability as well to fill in when, players like Harry Maguire or maybe more importantly, Lisandro Martinez, build out of the back and just fill in and simply cover that position. These basic things that United have not had in the defensive midfielder for a long time is exciting. Casemiro joining for €60 million. But gets the thumbs up. Look, we're going to play short-term FC. Let's just back the transfer. It's a good one. Thanks for watching, guys. Of course, Casemiro joins Manchester United. That is absolutely gas. Guys, get into the comments below. Which signing do you want to see Manchester United make next for me? It's going to be Anthony. I want to see that Brazilian trifecta on the right-hand side of the pitch. GG's. Smash that like. Subscribe if you're new. We'll see you later.